Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid, just going into Bitcoin, big CoinsKid crew. So Bitcoin, theoretically at the moment, without all the Elliott waves and support and resistance and things like that, we just look at the cycles that it moves in, and so far so good. We do move up and down these 4-year cycles. At the moment we've had this sort of drawdown in 2022 where we're coming down, and theoretically we're just carrying out very similar cycles to what we always have. In 2014, after a big run up, we had the drawdown for a whole year, then we had 3 years of appreciation, and then we had a drawdown in 2018, and then we've had 3 years of appreciation, and theoretically right now we're just doing exactly what we've done before, and we're moving up and down in these cycles. So should we just pay attention to that going forward? That if that is the case, then come January 2023, which is literally a few weeks away, isn't it? It's not very long, 6 or 7 weeks I think it is. Could that just be a fantastic position to sort of jump into Bitcoin wherever it is at the time, kick back, relax, and just ride it up for 3 years? It is a possibility that with all the complications of Elliott wave and structure and resistance and things like that, moving averages and EMAs and things, do we just kick back and pay attention to the cycles affected apparently by the halving? It could just be that simple. Okay, so it's definitely absolutely possible, isn't it, that Bitcoin could be a really good buy come the end of the month, come the end of December, early January, who knows? But if it isn't, and we do continue to go into next year and beyond, and Bitcoin just keeps coming down, then it is in this new cycle. It has broken the cycle, and this is the reason why it never got to all those larger appreciation targets that a lot of people had forecasted, because that's the cycle that it's always been, and it's got to those particular levels. Not bullshit, not hopium. It's always got to the 2.272. In this cycle it never did. Is it because of the C word dump in 2020 that it was pulled back so much that it just broke in it and it never got all the way up there? That is equally a possibility. But I will be sitting back, like I said to you. I'm not necessarily looking to enter Bitcoin at the moment. I'm looking for a structure, I'm looking for a break of resistance, I'm looking for the confirmation of the bottom. We thought we were printing the bottom, given historical data right there, but that is right now been invalidated. So it is quite concerning going forward that we're falling through EMAs and moving averages and things like that, and losing lows and structure of the previous all-time high in 2017 as well. So it is concerning. We have to pay attention to that. So the only kind of saving grace really is that the fact that we are in this cycle, and next year and beyond, for the next 3 years, we should theoretically see some upside for Bitcoin and not necessarily downside year on year, because if we do, then it's a massive warning sign, isn't it? Bitcoin's in deep poo basically, and we have to pay attention to what the data's telling us right there. So anyway, aside from all that, like I said, you just kick back, relax, don't necessarily hold onto a falling knife. Anything can happen. This is Bitcoin. It's absolutely volatile. It has your pants down. Okay, let's dive into the chart, see what we can see. So looking at Bitcoin on the weekly, then what I'm looking for is a potential right now is one last dump leading into December, mid-December right there, where we do bottom out Q4 of this year, and then next year we start to sort of slowly but surely ramp up over the next few years. We'll look at some kind of appreciation from year start to year end in 2023, which will be really nice, and then just sort of come up slowly but surely, and eventually over the next few years here break this high, take it out, and we're looking at some appreciation right there for Bitcoin, and it will be a fruitful time. But I can't guarantee it, obviously, and the invalidation of that is if we start to see something like this, a Bitcoin where it just keeps coming down into next year, and we're invalidating what we've always done in previous cycles. So it will be quite concerning. So this is why I'm not catching a falling knife here. I'm not taking a risk. I was taking a risk here, like I said to you, on the data driven bottoms, but as soon as that data is invalidated, I react, and that's what it is. I was taking action on that data, but as soon as the data is invalidated, you've got to also take action and pay attention to what the charts are doing right there. So the only sort of saving grace right now that we are ending this cycle, this big drawdown with a upside, is just previous cycles, what Bitcoin's done. There are things that are going on in the charts that I can't ignore that are really bearish, and that's the truth of it. The fact that you've sort of come down like this, you're losing these EMAs, you're getting really overextended, the big gaps in the EMAs as well, and you've not backtested this weekly 20 since way back there in April. So this is a really powerful sort of trend right now that Bitcoin's in. So we need to get ahead back above water, and like I said to you, one thing I want to see going forward primarily is a close above the 10 EMA on the monthly time frame, which currently sits, let me show you right now, that particular EMA currently sits at roughly 25914, I think it is. So obviously in time this is coming down, but if we can get our head back above that, I think that would just be a really confirmation, a really strong, powerful confirmation of a bottom basically, because that's what I'm always looking at, historical charts right there. So one thing that we are on the cusp of, like I said to you, we've got the death cross there on the 10 and 20 EMA on the monthly time frame, which is always been an after event of a bottom. I've gone through this with you before, and this is one of the data points which are telling you this point here was basically telling us that the bottom was in, because historical data shows us the month prior was the bottom when you get that cross just there. Okay, but one thing we're doing right now, like I've said to you in a previous video last week, is the death cross scenario, where we're potentially putting in a death cross on the 10 and the 55. That's something that Bitcoin's never ever done in its history. Okay, and when I've ever looked at previous charts, you know, like the S&P 500 that have got data going back hundreds of years, whenever it's done that, it's not been a good event. It's been a very bearish event. So this is why, you know, I keep relaying to you, I don't want to catch a falling knife. I don't want to necessarily try and time the bottom again, because we've validated the data of a bottom. So the only thing going forward for us, you know, is the fact that we're just in this cycle where 3 year upside, 1 year downside, 3 year upside, 1 year downside, you know, and the halvening affects that. So that's all we've got going forward, you know, to be bullish about. So it's just a case of sitting back, relaxing, waiting. Like I said to you, don't try and pick the bottom, don't try and catch a falling knife, because anything can happen. You know, we've got big bearish engulfing candle here, we're sort of following it through right now. We've got 9 days left for Bitcoin to sort itself out and get a close above that, because like I said to you, you've got the kiss of death where you run into the amaze and you're dropping again. So historical data in different charts shows us that that is a really, really bearish scenario right there that Bitcoin's doing. So the people that are calling for 3k, 5k, 1k, things like that, they could actually be right. You know, they could be right. Who knows? No one's got a crystal ball. No one can see into the future. But the charts, what the charts are doing right now, and the historical data here for Bitcoin being invalidated of a bottom, you know, the only thing we've got going forward is the fact that you are in these cycles. That's what I'm trying to convey to you right now. Okay, so that's basically Bitcoin. I'll be back tomorrow with a detailed trade setup potentially. I've posted something on Twitter this morning that I'm looking at as a potential little break to the upside, a little relief rally. But you know, I wish everyone the utmost luck. But honestly, you know, just be patient. Like I said to you, patience is key. Okay, take care everyone. Back to another update on Bitcoin. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Bye bye.